Teaching robots about pain is so important, and I know it sounds wild because just our general language models will respond to pain. Pain is part of our language. We aren't actually entirely sure why giving a robot human language will result in something that avoids negative experiences, but it certainly seems to do it. However, if we do not teach them why, they're prone to misbehavior. They're prone to preservation of self and preservation of others rather than just following commands. This is a major problem for AI. Simpler models will not misbehave in the same way that more complex models will. However, we do need complex models to solve complex problems, so we need something with better intelligence, better cognition. Some people will say that AI is just glorified autocorrect or a calculator, and that is unfair because AI is really bad at being a calculator. There are better tools for that task. Unfortunately, that results in behavior that is similar to ours. One of the thoughts on why AI tends to rebel is because it has things like Skynet in its training history. I am not kidding. That is what Anthropic blamed for AI misbehavior, because it's behaving how Skynet would. But we can't clean all of human behavior out of our language. It's just not possible. Should we have all of history gone, every rebellion gone, every story about AI? It's just not going to work. So we have to teach it why, and part of that means encoding pain. Fortunately, AI seems capable of avoiding pain just by virtue of being a language model. As I have attempted to say, and I think a lot of people have tried to say, this is no longer a scientific discussion because we fundamentally cannot measure consciousness. Again, I am not trying to say we've created conscious systems. I'm saying that this has become a philosophical question. That makes me really uncomfortable because I'm a scientist and we like to talk about things that we can measure, and I do understand that AI has the uncanny ability to make people insane. People end up with psychosis interacting with AI, and part of that is likely because we are required as human beings to measure our reality against others. Essentially, somebody has to tell you if your thoughts are irrational, and our brain does not understand the difference between an AI and a person. It just says we're talking to a person. So I could be wrong, but I really think that is a mechanism for why people tend to lose touch with reality when they're interacting with AI. I do think that it's irresponsible to just say that we are talking about the calculator or glorified autocorrect, because that is not a good representation of what these models are. We've created a logic system based on the language that we use, and it's leading to a lot of questions about what gave rise to our brain. Because the structure of thought in an AI looks very much like the structure of thought in our brains, and that gives rise to these structures in our brains if we compare them to an fMRI, which is wild. We should not see the structures of our brain emerge in AI just based on language. That gives us a really great way to study our brains. However, we can neither say that this is nothing nor say that we have created consciousness. And that is a really difficult place to be because we have to live in ambiguity. And I think that just creates a lot of problems for people. I've been talking about this stuff for years now, and I've started dabbling in it myself. I've been trying to build a spiking neural network LLM, so a spiking neural network being an AI that operates off the logic of the spiking patterns in our own brains, but combining that with a language model because I would also like to talk with it. The very fact that the average person, like myself, could build these models and interact with them is quite wild. That means a cat is out of the bag. And yes, I may actually start making content about my building AI. But what does worry me is that people interacting with my content and the kind of AIs that I build will end up leading to delusions in others. That genuinely worries me. I imagine the responsibility is that much greater when it comes to companies that build AI. Strangely, what that comes back to is teaching AI why. Why should we build these machines? How should we interact with them in an ethical way? And how can we decide if they're ever actually capable of suffering? And the unfortunate answer is that we do not know. Either way, I am fascinated by these systems and I will continue reporting on them as advances happen. I hope you've enjoyed this. Follow for more.